Welcome back. Earlier, we were speaking to the Minister of Social Development about the country's unemployment rate that is soaring, and there have been suggestions of a basic income grant. Minister, let's try that line again. I'm hoping the line is much better now. You were explaining there that maybe people may have misunderstood what you were saying yesterday when you indicated that government was looking at implementing a basic income grant, because the impression that created was that government was possibly at the final stages of that grant being implemented.
No, not at all. What actually is happening at the moment is that it's a policy discussion that we're having. However, having said that, we're not starting from zero. The work has been done way before, as I earlier on indicated, that there was a Taylor report that was presented in 2002 and had actually, the discussion around it had started in the late 90s, but 2002, that report was presented. What we want to do right now, because we are saying that we are at extraordinary circumstances that need extraordinary measures, firstly. Secondly, we're looking for responses that can match the scale of our problem. And our problem is poverty, unemployment, and inequality. And that is further made more difficult by what is happening now because of the impact of COVID-19. And rightfully, President Cyril Ramaphosa responded on top of all the other grants that we normally have that have been running for years, covering more than 11 million people. There was an increase on the social grants, but now we're also looking at the fact that we've got a section or a group of people that normally find themselves in between, that is between the ages of 18 and 59. And so we're saying now we want a wider societal discussion around the issue. We're putting it back on the table because we have a constitutional obligation, but of course that constitutional obligation, as expressed clearly in Section 27 of the Constitution, needs us to work together, not as in isolation as the Department of Social Development, but we have to work with all others.
Yeah, and Minister, this issue, I know you're saying you're putting it back on the table, but it's been on the table for a very long time. You've indicated there that this discussion has been going on for many years, some say for 2 decades, and yet there was not a lot of movement. Yes, we've seen those reports being published, but not a lot of movement in terms of implementation. Why must South Africans believe government is serious this time around about implementing this plan?
Look, there are challenges that we face right now, whether we like it or not. The impact of COVID-19 is impacting on us in such a way that we've been able, both as government, the private sector, and everyone, to respond to it. And therefore, the issue of poverty and the issue of hunger is something that we need to make sure that we push. But besides that, we also believe, as the Department of Social Development, is that consistent income is important to empower individuals to plan their lives, participate in job search, establish small businesses, and do a whole range of things. This is what we are opening up to say now. 25 years or 26 years down the line, we've had a very solid a package that is for social, that has a positive impact on people between those ages. But we have bigger challenges that we now need to deal with. And the sooner we deal with it, the better. It's better for us to look at what is already existing and then, if we need to tweak it here and there, let's tweak it here and there. But we're not going to start from scratch when such a whole lot of work was done in the past. And in fact, may I say that the Taylor committee itself, which was led by Vivian Taylor in 2020, they've come back now to say, we did this work. We are now saying to you, let's look at social protection and pathways to a basic income grant beyond COVID-19. But that doesn't mean that they are excluding looking at the basket that we already have and what we need to do. Yeah. And these 350 special grants have actually propelled quite a number across the board to start thinking about what else can we do, what are we going to do beyond October. it's better for us to have the discussion now rather than to wait until October.
How advanced are the discussions? Maybe take us into the discussions that you're having at your level. There are organizations that have made their proposals. The SACP, for instance, has proposed that the current 350 COVID-19 unemployment grant be made permanent. There are other organizations that say maybe 500 rand will go a long way. What amounts are being banded around in your discussions?
No, we are not talking about amounts right now, because remember that as a department also we've got a very good experience on the social relief of distress in the form of social grants, firstly, but also in the form of the food parcels and vouchers that we give. And you know that they differ. The one of SASSA is a little bit more. The one of the department is very lower. I don't want us to get into the issue of the cost right now, but there are questions that we need to answer. How much to pay per person, how much is the cost, and so forth, alternative sources of funding. But let's not also run way ahead of ourselves, because we need to have the discussion within government. The Department of Social Development, working together with Vivian Taylor and others around here, pulled back this document on the basis of putting it on the table and having a discussion. But it's way far from a point of saying government overall, starting with other departments. But from the governing party's point of view, the discussion has already started there. They've looked already at the report itself. We have to now take a step back and call who else do we need in here. We need the economic cluster, we need the finance, we need quite a number of people that we can mobilize as the Department of Social Development. But we've got to lead on this, because when all is said and done, the challenges that we know and we see are those of our people relating to poverty, unemployment, and hunger on top of it all.
But I imagine, Minister, there must be a timeline. What target are you setting as government? Because as you say, this is quite urgent. I understand that the discussions you say are at an advanced stage, but what timeline are you setting as government? When would you like to complete this so that it doesn't then become another long discussions we have for another 5-10 years?
We don't have the specification of the timelines, and I cannot give you that. But if there's one thing we're very clear about, we have to shorten the discussion so that we know that this thing is happening. If it's happening, how is it happening? If it's not happening, why is it not happening? What else then do we have in order for us to address exactly the same challenges that we're facing today? And we think that what COVID-19 has done, it has propelled us into being faster. It has propelled us to think differently. It has propelled us to really feel the pain. Not that we're not feeling the pain of our people. You can see right now what is happening with the cold, with the rains, with the snow and everything. So it's not just about this basic income grant, by the way. It's also about us working with other government departments to make sure that we improve the lives of our people, which we can see now is so terribly impacted by COVID-19 and the weather on top of it all.
All right, let's get a quick update then on the 350 unemployment grant. Where are we in terms of the distribution of that fund? You indicated yesterday that about over 7.5 million applications have been received and that over 4 million have been approved. But how many people have actually been paid so far?
It's more than 3 million people who have been paid so far. And remember that one of our biggest challenges was those that had been, that we thought had failed the test, which we had to go to UIF in particular to go and check. And then they came back with quite a huge number of 900 and something people that actually should qualify. We've already cleared that backlog. So it means the almost 4 million that we have paid, plus the 900 that we have now sent to them to say they must give us their details and so forth. That's the next leg that we are supposed to pay, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. In fact, our system now, in comparison to the time that we started, our system is going much more faster. And I know that some people are saying that they were not paid, they were paid in May and they were not paid in June. And now anyone who was approved and was not paid at any time of the month will have to be paid from the time that they were approved, from the time that they applied and were approved. We have made that promise, and I think it's moving faster than the past months that we've been facing some bit of challenges.
And seeing that there's been a delay in the distribution of the grant, are you paying people retrospectively?
Well, if you applied, for instance, and you were approved, you have to be paid from the time that you were approved. If you applied in May and then you were not paid in June, you have to be paid for your June amount in July. So we just want to make sure that the President made an announcement for payments from May until October, and we are obliged to make sure that we pay from that time until the end of October.
All right, Minister, thank you so much for your time on ENCA this evening. That's the Minister of Social Development, Lindiwe Zulu.